Hello students, I am Namrata Panya, Assistant Professor of English Department at LJ Institute of Applied Sciences. In this video, I am going to talk about the third chapter from Unit 1 of BSc Semester 3. The paper code is FC201. Remember, this is according to the revised 2019-20 version of your syllabus. So, let's start with the story.
The Eyes Are Not Here by Ruskin Bond. Let us talk about the author. Ruskin Bond is one of the most beloved authors in India today. He is from a British descent, though he's been born and brought up in India. In fact, he's born in Kasauli and he's been brought up in towns like Jamnagar, Shimla, Dehradun. A lot of his works are based on his experiences as an Anglo-Indian, and he talks about the political, cultural as well as social aspects of India, especially as he is one of the few writers who's lived through the colonial, post-colonial as well as modern India. He's received a lot of awards and accolades like the Padma Shri and the Padma Bhushan among many other for the phenomenal work that he has done.
Now let me give you a little trivia about our author. Do you remember the movie Saath Khoon Maaf? Priyanka Chopra fans will know what I'm talking about. The movie is based on Ruskin Bond's story, Susanna's Seven Husbands. In fact, he's also made a guest appearance in the movie. Do you remember the old priest at the end of the movie? Well, that's our writer. Also, students, if you ever visit Mussoorie and go to our writer's hometown, you may actually end up meeting him, as he is known to visit bookshops and he is known for book readings and meetings his fan whenever possible.
Let us now talk about the story. Our story is basically a conversation that happens between two people. It shows us that there are so many assumptions that we make so easily, and a lot of things that we perceive, a lot of our judgments are based on these assumptions that we have already made. Our story starts with our narrator, who's a visually challenged person. He's sitting alone in a train compartment and he talks about things like how visually challenged people notice more details that are most telling on the remaining senses that they have than other people. People who can see have so much to notice, so much to perceive that they don't give attention to the little details. We will come back to this remark as it is very important. He is joined by a girl at Rohana station. The moment this girl enters the compartment, her parents start giving her a lot of instructions. Do not look out of the window, do not talk to strangers, keep your luggage by your side, so on and so forth. Our narrator likes the sound of her voice, he likes the sound of her slippers, and so he wants to talk to her. But he doesn't want her to find out that he is challenged. So he strikes up a conversation by asking her if she is going to Dehra. She reacts in a different manner. She is a little startled. She tells him that she did not know that there was anyone else in the compartment as well. He lets this remark go, and then they start talking forward. She tells him that she is getting down at Saharanpur, but she is going to Dehra and then Mussoorie. Here we find out that our narrator was not always blind, as he starts talking about his past experience of Mussoorie. He tells her how the hills are covered in dahlias, how people sit in front of log fires at night drinking brandy, how the sun is delicious, how the roads are deserted, and how October is the best time to visit Mussoorie. But after this, our narrator makes a slip up. He asks her, what is it like? He's talking about the view outside the window. But she doesn't notice this. Instead, she tells him, why don't you look out the window? He does, and he does a wonderful job. He starts making general remarks like how the trees seem to be moving while they seem to be standing still, and very common things. After this, she asks him, do you see any animals? To this, he replies, hardly any animals left in the forests near Dehra. And then they sit in silence for some time. By this time, our narrator is feeling pretty bold. She still hasn't noticed that he can't see, And so, in the next part of the story, he tries to flirt with her a little.
Now students, there are a few things that we notice. The first is the girl. She enters the compartment and she's given a lot of instructions by her parents. Now this is normal if you're a child, but not if you're a grown woman. She misses all the slip-ups that our narrator makes, which is a little strange. Another thing is that our narrator is very clever. He keeps on saying things like the trees are moving and we are standing still, which is something that all of us have experienced while traveling in a train. So all these are the few important points that we have in the first part of the story. Now let's move to the second part.
Trying to flirt with her a little, our narrator tells her that she has an interesting face. She laughs pleasantly to this and tells him that it's a refreshing remark. People have told her till now that she has a pretty face. After this, she tells him that he's a very gallant young man, but he's very serious. Now, this saddens our narrator a little, as he wants to laugh with her as well. But the thought of forcing himself to do that makes him feel more troubled and lonely. They reach Saharanpur and she stands up to collect the luggage. And there's a moment where both of them are pretty close to each other. So close that he can smell the perfume from her hair and it is very tantalizing to him. There's a romantic moment that happens from our narrator's side. He starts wondering about her hair and how her voice sounds like a clear stream and he starts fantasizing. But all of this is on his part. We are not shown anything on the girl's side. The girl leaves and says goodbye and there's some commotion that happens at the door as another traveler gets in. The traveler apologizes to the girl and the girl leaves. After this though, the traveler starts talking to our narrator. He's making conversation saying that the narrator must be disappointed as he's not as pretty as the girl who has just left. But our narrator is not listening to any of this. He's still wondering about the girl and her hair. He wants to know whether it was short, whether it was long, whether it was plaited. And this makes him slip again. He can't resist but ask the traveler, "Can you tell me, did she keep her hair long or short?" The traveler replies, "I don't remember. It was her eyes I noticed, not her hair. She had beautiful eyes, but they were of no use to her. She was completely blind. Didn't you notice?" This is the end of our chapter, where our narrator realizes that the girl with whom he had been talking, he had been pretending to be someone who could see, had been doing the same thing to him, as she was blind as well.
Let me take you back to the remark that our narrator makes at the beginning of the story. He says that people who can't see notice details more than people who can. This remark is turned into an irony when we come to know that even he has not noticed all the hints that were given to him about how the girl is visually challenged as well. She is given a lot of instructions by her parents. She does not notice our narrator is sitting in the compartment. She does not notice any of the slip-ups that our narrator makes. In fact, she dodges all of his questions and asks him to look outside the window as well. All this keeps on telling us again and again, gives us hints again and again about how the girl is visually challenged as well. But along with the narrator, we as readers don't notice as well. That is why when it is revealed at the end that she cannot see, we are surprised as well. This fact that even a visually challenged person can sometimes make mistakes in noticing small things is emphasized by the fact that the girl keeps on missing all the slip-ups that our narrator makes as well. She also does not recognize that the narrator cannot see. Now, these are two characters who are visually challenged. They are limited because of their condition. But we are introduced to a third character in the name of the traveler who is not visually challenged and who has the advantage of sight. Even this person does not notice that our narrator is visually challenged. He notices the girl because he looks into her eyes and sees that the eyes are not here. But he does not notice the same about our narrator. All of this happens because of the assumptions that all the characters keep on making regarding each other. Our narrator assumes that the girl can see. The girl assumes the same about our narrator. This is why they keep on missing the hints that they are continuously giving to each other regarding their condition. The same happens with the traveler. When he clearly sees that our girl has very beautiful eyes but they are of no use, he knows that she is blind. But he does not know the same regarding the narrator because he does not pay attention. Through this story, our writer is asking us to be more observant. He is telling us that knowing a person or knowing a situation is not dependent on whether you can see or cannot see. It is dependent on the assumptions that you make regarding that person or that situation. This assumption is what colors our perception. This is what makes us make mistakes or misjudge a person or misjudge a situation. Our writer is asking us to be more observant. He's asking us to pay a little more attention to details in life. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and share and subscribe my channel for upcoming videos and other interesting stories. Thank you.